Welcome to All Gems, No Crumbs, where the vibes are high and the tips hit every time. I'm your host, Ikenisha J, entrepreneur, millennial mama, wife, and your go-to for real talk on building your brand, protecting your peace, and living your softest life yet. Each week, I'm dropping gems to help you level up in business, mindset, self-care, and everything in between without the fluff, pressure, or burnout. No crumbs, just gems. Let's get into it. Hey, 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 jewelers. Welcome back to All Gems, No Crumbs. It's your girl, Ikenisha J, and today's episode, we're gonna do another personal one. I hadn't done one in a while, and you all know I get long-winded when I do personal episodes. But I felt like today I really wanted to get deep and personal. So we're talking about something I know so many of us are experiencing, even if we don't always have the words for it. Like we prayed for this life, we journaled about it, we fasted for it, we begged God to deliver it, and now it's here, and it can feel heavy sometimes. So let's talk about what happens when the blessings show up, but the weight of that blessing comes right along with it. So we're gonna talk. So I want you all to cast your minds back to 2021. And again, I'm going back to something I have mentioned several times in this podcast. But you all know that that year, for quite a few years after, we're just gonna say that it was a storm. We're just gonna say that you already know my marriage was going through serious challenges, leading to a separation, and honestly, I was in a deep valley of depression. And it was around that time, in the midst of all that chaos, that I started praying with a fervor I hadn't known before. Like, I wasn't praying for superficial things. I was praying for emotional healing. I was praying for financial freedom, for a life where I could care for my children without worrying. I envisioned a business life where I wasn't just making money to survive, but one where I had an incredible network, connections like my parents, aunts, and uncles have cultivated over the years. Like, their connections are crazy deep, and that's what I want for myself. And above all else, I prayed for peace. Peace for me has become the ultimate currency. It is what I value the most. I value it more than anything. So I was definitely praying for peace. And I remember those prayers distinctly. They were raw, they were desperate, and they were very specific. I was painting a picture for God of the life that I yearned for, the one that I knew that He could provide. And it's like Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That peace was what I was chasing, and I was literally begging God for it. And I didn't pray for easy, I prayed for possible. Something possible comes with its own sets of challenges, obviously. So fast forward a little bit, and if you all hear like some bumpy noises and things of that nature, I don't know what's going on in this building, but something's going on. But anywho, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, so there came a point when I truly surrendered everything to Him. We're talking my heart, my life, my business, my children, my marriage, everything. And let me tell you, when you make that kind of radical surrender, things shift. And I'm talking about big shift, huge shift. And real talk, the closer you get to God, the more aligned you become with His purpose, the harder the enemy comes for you. You all should know that if you are any sort of church goer. Any pastor is going to tell you that. And it's like a target gets painted on your back. And I've been tested, and there are times when I've stumbled, times when I failed, but I refuse to let that keep me down. I repent, I learn, I try again. And despite the spiritual warfare, despite the challenges and all of that, I am still genuinely happy than I have ever been before. Last year was one of the happiest times of my adult life. I'll say that. 2024. And I didn't realize that until I was looking back on the year during New Year's Eve. And I always do a yearly reflection and a yearly journal and, goals setting and all that sort of stuff. And that was when I realized that 2024 was amazing. And I don't feel burdened. I don't really feel heavy, but there are times, I'm just happy. I'll put it that way. And one day, like, I'm pretty sure I talked about this stuff here too. I'm almost positive I have, but it hit me like a while back that I was beginning to live the life that I prayed for. And I was connecting with incredible, well-known people in my hometown, including, the Chamber of Commerce and the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I was starting to become known for what I wanted to be known for. And this isn't just about me. It's about like what happens when you walk in obedience. And I know that's what happens. And James 1:12 reminds us that blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. And it's not about the absence of problems. It's about like divine protection in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of those problems. So here's a thought for you. I'm not struggling. I wouldn't even say struggling, but we're going to put struggling as a word in there for lack of a better word. I'm not struggling because I'm doing something wrong. I'm stretched because I'm doing something right. Like, it's like I'm living the life that I prayed for, but I also realize that I'm no longer praying for the impact. I'm experiencing it. And that impact that I want to have in my hometown and online, it is becoming responsibility. Like, I'm now known, expected, and watched, especially in my hometown, if you get what I'm saying. And there are expectations from these new connections from my community and, of course, myself. And here's where like the heavy part can sometimes creep in. I feel like there's not... Okay, so like God, I said this before too, he has blessed me with an immense amount of talent, but he has also blessed me with an immense amount of intelligence and ideas. And my goal of creating both local and online impact means I often feel rushed to complete projects because I have so many ideas and so many things I want to do. And I don't want to produce shoddy work. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is I procrastinate. And then sometimes I don't complete certain projects at all due to the lurking feeling of failure or letting people down or them, buying something, purchasing something from me and them not liking it. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. And the root of this procrastination, and I bet it could be for many of you too, is often the fear of not being enough, or the fear really for me right now is failing publicly. Like, it's a real tension balancing that desire for wide reaching online impact with that very tangible in-person purpose right here in my community. And I just want to, it's that perfectionism. That perfectionism just comes back every single time. And right now, if you're not aware, I have something that I released. What month are we in? We're in July. So I produced this. Oh, I can't think. All my time is running together. But anywho, I just created something called the AI Avatar Lab. AI is huge right now. AI avatars, AI influencers, AI twins, all of that, huge right now. And in this lab, I teach you how to create your digital twin. I teach you how to use it for sales. I teach you marketing. I teach you, monetization. It's a lot. And there are a lot of ideas that I have that I want to add to this lab. And they are coming in so quick that I'm not able to produce them as quickly as I want to. And I know that I don't have to do them so quickly, but I want to. I want to have them done. It's almost like I get the idea and I just want to instantly have it done, because I just want people to have all of the tools and videos and guidance and everything in this lab. So in the lab, you pay one fee, and you have lifetime access. I am constantly, obviously, updating it and adding new things and adding new videos, adding new guides, I'm just constantly adding things that I'm creating. So you will get value out of it, and I know it is valuable. But however, I'm it's just so much that I want to do, and I'm just scared that people are going to leave it before I get a chance to add everything that I want to add in it. Like, I have a lot in there right now. Um, but again, like, I want more. But a verse that comes to mind, that just came to my mind, is Luke 12:48. And it goes like, from everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. And when you pray for expansion, or when I pray for expansion, I think I kind of forgot that it came with extra weight, because sometimes it absolutely does. And I just got to keep praying and keep moving, because again, God has blessed me with all of the ideas and the talent to produce those ideas through Him. So, how do you navigate the heavy, or how do I navigate, whatever, while still walking in your purpose? And for me, it's all about intentional practice and designing my peace. So my work weeks, especially with the kids in summer camps right now, can be chaotic. Like right now, I thought that June, July I would be so productive. I have not. I'm juggling, all of the work things. I'm juggling camp drop-offs, camp pickups, me sitting there at the camps, for my 5-year-old. I'm not going to drop him off. I'm going to sit there, and his baseball camp's like 3 hours long a day, like killing me. Of course, vacations, keeping the house clean, keeping the house organized, needing time to unwind, of course, time to myself, and then planning. And then, of course, I got to sleep. And there's no external tension, but there's an internal push to get everything done, like I was saying. And it's just hard right now. But the thing is, I don't really feel burdened. And a huge part of that is because I do have a morning and night routine that I have planned to the T. And it is specifically my morning time and nighttime with God. And these are non-negotiable times where I connect with Him. I pour out my heart. I fill myself up. I even have a book that I created. I think I've talked about this. I don't know if I talked about this. I know I talked about it online. But I have a book that I created that I use for my business meetings with God. And we'll talk about that in a whole other episode, because I want to do that as a whole episode, because it is a game changer. So we're going to talk about that in one whole episode. But again, so I have a night routine and a morning routine that's specifically for God. Got to spend time with Him. And then I also have business meetings with God. And doing all of this, I'm choosing a life of alignment instead of just achievement. Working for yourself, I think people misunderstand this. Working for yourself doesn't mean stress-free. Being honest, it means more stress and more responsibility because it's just you, but it does mean purpose-filled. It means you're building something for you, your family, and for God's glory, if that's something you believe in. Now, if you're feeling that weight, if you're struggling with procrastination, or if your days feel like a whirlwind, I'm going to give you some practical gems and things that I need to make sure that I take my own advice about, because I know what I need to do. I just don't do it. So the first thing we're going to talk about with the procrastination is conquering it. So we got to understand the why. And I know my why. As we discussed, procrastination often stems from fear. And you got to figure out, is it a fear of failure, fear of not being perfect, fear of success? Because people actually fear success and the expectations that come with it. So name that fear, and then once you figure it out, you can tame it. And then we can do something called the tiny steps method, where you break down big tasks or big projects into the smallest possible tasks, which is what I tend to do. But then sometimes I don't finish. So like, let's say, like if launching a new course feels overwhelming, then the first tiny step could be outline module 1, which is what I do. I would just do tiny bits and pieces of the course. And I realized that small wins will build my momentum. So do that. And then something else I've talked about before is time blocking for focus. So dedicate specific uninterrupted blocks of time for your most important and high impact tasks. And then you're going to treat these blocks like non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Put your phone away or put it on focus mode or whatever you need to do. And then also make sure you close distracting tabs on your laptop or your phone if you have to use your phone during that time. And then something else I always do, I reward myself. Give yourself give yourself small rewards, like immediate rewards for completing something that was challenging. Take a quick break, listen to a favorite song, dance, go walking, buy a pair of shoes, do something. Something that gives your brain a little dopamine hit. And then you'll want to do more for yourself. Next thing you should do is design your days and week with intention. So there is power in non-negotiables. You need to identify your absolute must-dos each day. I never have more than 3 tasks a day because I know how I am. If I have 4 or 5 tasks, I want to complete them all. And if I don't check it off, I'm going to feel horrible and then my day is just done. So you also need to make sure you schedule in that time with God and essential family time. Schedule those first, okay? And then I've talked about this before. Make sure you have theme days. So consider giving each day a theme. So like Monday could be for content creation. Tuesday could be for client calls. Or if you're a product-based business, it could be the day that you add new items to your website. Wednesday for operational tasks. And this helps you batch similar activities and it reduces overwhelm. It reduces decision fatigue, all of those things. Something else too, buffer time could be your best friend. This is something that I did when I was at Victoria's Secret as well, as another job that I had. Don't schedule back-to-back meetings or back-to-back tasks. Build in like 15 to 30-minute buffer times or buffers between activities. And life happens and these buffers absorb the unexpected. So have time in between to give your mind a break. And then last, I want you to take 30 to 60 minutes at the end of each week or the beginning of next week, whatever, to review what worked, what didn't, and plan out your priorities for the coming week. This helps you course correct and you can stay strategic in what you're doing. The third thing, anchor your time with God. Sacred first and last. Again, my morning and night routines with God are my anchors. And even if it's just 15 minutes, it doesn't matter, of quiet prayer, reading a verse before my kids wake up, 10 minutes of reflection before bed, make it sacred. The business meeting with God is where I bring my business plans, my struggles, my visions, my ideas directly to Him. It's a dedicated time. I use my specific journal or workbook, whatever you all want to call it, that I have, where I listen, I pray, I receive guidance. And again, more on this in a future episode. But no, it's a vital practice. And if you want a copy of that book, I will leave a link in the show notes, description box, or whatever you want to call it, okay? And then also throughout my day, when I feel overwhelmed or I need guidance, I will take a few quick seconds and I will pray. And I acknowledge His presence in every moment. And I actually talk to God like He's right here. Like I just have conversations. Have conversations. I consistently check in with myself spiritually and emotionally. And it's like taking inventory. Like, am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I neglecting my quiet time? Am I listening to the Holy Spirit? This self-awareness is crucial for maintaining that peace that I value so much. And remember, peace is something that I had to design, not something that just showed up out of nowhere. One of the most powerful practices also that I've incorporated, and I think I've talked about this before as well. Sorry for sounding like a broken record with certain things, but when I was younger, my mom taught me about gratitude, and she used to have me write down, I can't remember if it was one thing or 3 things that I was grateful for each day before going to sleep. And I still do that now. But something else that I incorporated when I got older, this was around 2021, is future pacing. Future pacing can also be known as future journaling. It depends on you, what you want to call it. Again, I've talked about this in another episode. I can't remember which one, so I can't tell you which one to go back to. So sorry. But it's about writing down like the life you want to live as if it's already happening. So not too long ago, I looked back at one of my journals and it was astounding. Like Okay, so like everything that I've read, like my life right now isn't identical to that. Like I didn't win the lottery. I'm not a millionaire or anything like that. But I am absolutely living so much of the life that I wrote about, and I am well on my way to the rest of it. And when you're writing, it's part faith, it's part vision, it's part strategy. It's a tangible way to see God's goodness in real time. Now, you might be asking yourself, or you might be asking, like, all right, Akanisha, how do I actually do this? How do I future journal? And it's real simple, but it's really powerful. I promise you, as someone who did it, it is powerful. So, like, quick guide, whatever. First, you got to find a sacred space. Like, pick a time and a place where you won't be interrupted, and this is your dedicated dreaming with God time. Then you're going to date it like normal. Now, some people tell you to like date it for the future, but I did not do that. My dates, the date that I wrote it was the date that it was. Okay. And then when you do this, you're going to write in present tense. It's going to be normal. Like, this is key. Describe your ideal life as if it's happening right now. So instead of you saying, I want to have financial freedom, you could just say, I'm so grateful for my abundant financial freedom, which allows me to provide for my children effortlessly, or something like that. But go deeper with it. Like, this is your actual journal. So, like, for example, I remember writing about me. It was something about my boutique was still open. Okay, I remember now. So my boutique was still open during this time that I was doing the future journaling, obviously, because, I closed my boutique last year. So it was one part where I wrote that I had a fashion show to celebrate the grand opening of my boutique's brick and mortar. Like, I actually had a brick and mortar. And at that fashion show, I met the president of the Chamber of Commerce and his marketing team or something like that. And they were excited to work with me and a bunch of other things, of stuff, all of that I have written down. Now, again, that was back then when I wrote this. Currently, I have done that. I am really cool with the marketing team of the over at the Chamber of Commerce. I have met with the president of Chamber of Commerce. I taught 2 classes that he asked me to teach, 2 workshops rather, around ChatGPT. He loved them. He still talks about them to this day. And while it wasn't the exact way that I wrote it, it still happened. If you get what I'm saying. So that was what I did. I just wrote about it as if I was living it. So I was like, I did this and this, and I was so happy. And he told me this. Like, it was in depth. It was as if I was living it. And boom, here we are. I want to say that was about 3 years ago when I wrote that. 4 years ago. I want to say 2022. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to have to go back and look. Anywho, next part. Let's see, we said right in present. Okay, so don't like just list goals. Like, describe how you feel. Like I was saying, like, what do you see around you? What sounds do you hear? What does your ideal day look like? Like, what happened that day? What kind of conversations are you having? Who are you surrounded by? Get real detail. So, like, another one I remember, or I could say, I'm going to give you an example rather, because I don't want to keep trying to remember what I wrote. You could say, I woke up feeling completely refreshed today, ready to serve. My inbox is managed by my incredible team that I have now, and it leaves me free to create and connect. My kids are thriving. My home is filled with peace and laughter. I'm meeting with incredible leaders in my community and making a huge impact. My online business, whatever you may have, is consistently generating thousands of dollars in passive income, allowing me to fully fund my whatever dream life or whatever you want to say that you might want. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what you should do. Something else too that I did do a lot in it was gratitude. So when you are writing in your journal, infuse it with immense gratitude. Thank God for the future blessings if they have already been bestowed upon you. And this shifts your mindset from lack to abundance. It also makes, okay, so like it also shifts your mind. Your mind doesn't, like, your brain doesn't really comprehend reality and dreams, if you get what I'm saying. So, like, I was unconsciously, subconsciously, I don't know what to say. It's hard to describe. Like, if something was happening, like, in my life currently, and I need to make a decision, my brain automatically made the decision based off of who I was telling it that I was, which was my future self. So I would make decisions based upon how my future self would react or decide, if you get what I'm saying. So I was making decisions that was pushing me to be that future person because my brain already believed that I was that future person, because every single night, like, yes, I wrote every single night for like a year and a half. My brain believed that that's who I was. And so I started believing that's who I was. And so my decisions were based upon who I was, even though that wasn't the life that I was living right then. I hope you all understand what I'm saying. But that's what happened. And in the gratitude part of my journaling, I was thanking God for, thank you so much for this. Thank you for this new house. Thank you for, all of these things. I didn't have them yet, but I believed that that was going to happen. And you got to be specific too, but don't limit. Like, name numbers, places, feelings, but leave room for God's imagination to exceed yours. He might have something even better in store. So even though I didn't meet the president of Chamber of Commerce and all of that at a fashion show that was done by me at my grand opening of Brick and Mortar, I still feel like the way I actually met him and all those connections and such are better, because I don't have that boutique anymore, and I don't care for that. And this way, the connections are better, because what I am able to do in the workshops that I lead in my community, I'm able to be referred to other people, which is what has been happening. So don't look at this as something that is wishful thinking. Like, use it as a spiritual exercise in faith and alignment. You're telling God, basically, I trust you with this vision, and I'm preparing my heart and my mind for it. That's basically what you're doing. In Habakkuk 2:3, I had to look this up because I want to make sure I was right. It tells us, then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain. Like, write it down, make it plain. I could not remember where that was in the Bible, but I remembered it. And you're going to, how does it go? Write down the vision, make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Write down the vision, y'all. Make it plain. My journal reminded me that I'm living what I used to dream about. And that, my friends, is a powerful, powerful feeling. Now, as we wrap up, I want to acknowledge something profound. The blessing can be beautiful and heavy at the same time. And it's okay to feel that weight. And that's what I had to tell myself. It's okay to pause. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to ask for help. Don't let the pressure of an answered prayer steal your joy or your peace. Remember, what you prayed for wasn't just about you. It was about a greater purpose. It's about the impact you're meant to make, the lives you're meant to touch. It requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It requires an open mind and a whole lot of faith. So keep cultivating that discipline for sure. Take that from somebody who knows, who has been an entrepreneur since 2017 and full-time since 2019. You got to cultivate that discipline. Practice self-compassion when you stumble. Be gentle with yourself. And keep your faith firmly planted in the one who orchestrated it all. And jewelers, if the weight of the answered prayer feels heavy right now, if you're in this space, remember, it's proof that the promise wasn't empty. And the one who gave it to you, he's still carrying it with you. Okay? All right, jewelers, so before you go, I have an assignment for you. I want you to grab a journal, simple notebook, whatever, and I want you to start your own future journal entry. So, write about your life as if it's already happening, just like we talked about. Be specific, be grateful, and truly envision it. Then put that journal somewhere safe, revisit it in a few months or a year, because that's what happened with me. I revisit mine 2 years after I have written it, and see how much God has already started to bring it, how much he started to bring to pass, I should say. And again, this isn't about dreaming, all right? This is about tracking God's faithfulness. So if this episode touched you, if it resonated with something you're experiencing, please DM me on Instagram. Tag me on Instagram if you listen to the episode fully. Share this with someone. Please like it. I would love to hear your insights, your thoughts. You can find me on Instagram at royal_aries55. If you prefer to email me, you can do that too. IKanishaJ@gmail.com. And I also mentioned my business meeting with God resource. So it's called running. Y'all know I can never remember the name of my stuff. What is it called? Oh my God. Hold on. I want to look. I'm about to look at my phone right now because I'm now watch. I don't have a screenshot of it. I swear. I know I have a screenshot of it. Oh my gosh, y'all. How do I not have a picture of, oh, there it is. Okay. So it's called, it's sad that I can't ever remember. It's like time I get an idea and I do it, it just goes fully out of my mind. Like I just don't think about it anymore. So I can't ever remember. It's weird. But anywho, it's called Running My Business His Way. Surrender your business by having CEO meetings with God. That's what it is. Good gracious, y'all. So if, again, there will be a link if you want to grab this. So it includes like what I do, my weekly meetings, my quarterly meetings, everything. Everything is in there. I do. I'm telling you, I believe it can transform the way you approach your business and your faith. And again, we're going to do that in a future episode. So maybe I'll do it next week's episode. We'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today on this longer episode of All Gems, No Crumbs. And remember, catch me next week with another gem of advice because you know I'm not going to leave no crumbs.